The moment she placed her hand on my shoulder and whispered, "Tonight, you're my boyfriend," something inside me tightened like a knot I couldn't undo, because deep down I knew this wasn't just a harmless favor, it was the kind of situation that changes people, the kind that makes you wonder, what would you do if you were me, standing there with everything to lose and nothing truly yours to hold onto? My name is Ryan, and I had spent most of my life staying invisible. I worked late, spoke less, and tried not to get involved in anything that might disrupt the fragile balance of my routine. My boss, Olivia, was everything I wasn't: confident, composed, effortlessly admired. She walked into rooms like she owned them, and people naturally stepped aside. I respected her, feared her a little, and kept my distance the way you do with someone who feels out of reach. So when she asked me that evening, her voice softer than I had ever heard it, I thought she was joking. But she wasn't. Her eyes held a quiet urgency, the kind that doesn't leave room for questions. She said it was just for one night, just to help her get through something uncomfortable. I didn't know why she chose me. Maybe because I was safe. Maybe because I was invisible. I should have said no. But I didn't. We drove in silence to a place far more elegant than anything I had ever been to. A restaurant glowing with warm lights, polished glass, and people who looked like they belonged to a different world. My palms were sweating, my heart beating like I had done something wrong already. Olivia looked calm, almost too calm, but I noticed the way her fingers trembled slightly as she adjusted her dress. And then we walked in. That's when everything fell apart. Her family was already seated. Not just a couple of relatives, but an entire table filled with people who carried the same air of quiet judgment, the same refined posture that made me feel like I didn't belong. Her father sat at the head, his expression sharp and unreadable. Her mother's gaze lingered on me a second too long, as if measuring my worth in a glance. There were siblings, cousins, faces I couldn't keep track of, all turning toward us at once. Olivia slipped her arm into mine, her grip tighter than expected. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't just a favor. This was a performance. And I was completely unprepared. The introductions blurred together. I tried to smile, to speak clearly, to be someone I wasn't. Every word felt rehearsed, even though I had no script. I could feel their eyes on me, analyzing, questioning, silently asking what someone like me was doing next to her. What would you have done? Would you have walked away? Would you have admitted the truth and risked humiliating her? Or would you have stayed, playing along, even as your chest tightened with every passing second? I stayed. Dinner felt like hours. Questions came, subtle at first, then sharper. What did I do? Where did I come from? What were my plans? Each answer felt like a test I was destined to fail. Olivia tried to help, filling in gaps, steering conversations, but the tension at the table kept growing. And then her father spoke. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. His words carried weight, the kind that presses down on you slowly. He questioned my intentions, my future, my place in Olivia's life. It wasn't outright cruel, but it was enough to make it clear I wasn't what he had imagined for his daughter. I felt something break inside me then. Not anger. Not even embarrassment. Just a quiet realization that I was pretending to be someone worthy in a room where worth was already decided. Olivia's hand tightened around mine under the table. For the first time that night, I looked at her, really looked. And I saw it, the fear behind her calm, the pressure she had been carrying, the silent plea for me to just hold on a little longer. That's when I understood. This wasn't about me. This was about her fighting something she couldn't face alone. So I changed. Not into someone else, but into someone honest. I stopped trying to impress them. I answered simply, truthfully. I spoke about my struggles, my long nights, the things I hadn't achieved yet but was still working toward. I didn't dress my life up anymore. I let it be what it was: imperfect, unfinished, real. Something shifted. The room didn't warm instantly, but the tension eased. Not because they suddenly approved of me, but because I stopped pretending to deserve their approval. And Olivia, she looked at me differently. The drive back was quiet again, but this time it felt heavier, filled with things unsaid. When we finally stopped, she didn't get out right away. She just sat there, staring ahead, her composure finally cracking. She admitted everything then. How her family had expectations she couldn't meet. How they wanted someone successful, polished, someone who fit their image. How she had been trying to prove something, to show them she could make her own choices. And how she chose me because she knew I wouldn't hurt her. That part stayed with me. Not because it made me feel special, but because it made me realize how lonely she had been, even surrounded by people. We sat there for a long time, neither of us knowing what came next. There was no dramatic ending, no sudden romance blooming out of the situation. Just two people, both a little broken in different ways, finding a strange kind of understanding. In the days that followed, things didn't magically change. At work, she was still my boss. Professional, distant. But sometimes, in the quiet moments, our eyes would meet, and there was something unspoken there, a shared memory, a silent acknowledgement of what we had been through. I didn't become her boyfriend. But I became something real. And maybe that mattered more. Because sometimes, life doesn't give you the ending you expect. Sometimes it gives you a moment, one night, one decision that changes how you see yourself, how you see others, how you understand the quiet battles people fight behind closed doors. Before this story ends, I want to ask you something. Have you ever pretended to be someone else just to fit into someone else's world? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your story might matter more than you think. And if this story touched something inside you, if it made you reflect even for a moment, then gently consider liking, sharing, and subscribing only if it truly stayed with you.